The Texas stars glittered like diamonds over Red Willow Ranch, their light dancing on the 4-acre lake at the heart of my family's land. I sat by my tent, the fire crackling, a cold beer in my hand. Rusty, my golden retriever, curled up beside me, his ears twitching at the night sounds. This was my escape, a 12-acre ranch near Abilene, passed down from my grandfather, who bought it in the 1950s. I'm Caleb Turner, a 38-year-old mechanic working long shifts at a truck repair shop. This lake, this land, was my sanctuary, where memories of Grandpa's fishing lessons lived on. Caleb, this lake's ours. Forever, Grandpa used to say, his calloused hands steady on the rod. As dawn broke over the water, he'd worked double shifts at a feed mill to buy this place, turning down developers who offered millions. Never sell. What's yours? He'd tell me, his voice firm. I'd come here after a brutal week to camp, to breathe, to feel him still with me. But at 2 hours a.m., that peace shattered. Flashlights pierced the dark. Hands up, step out of the tent. Now, a voice boomed. Rusty growled, low and deep, as I unzipped the flap, squinting into the glare. 2 deputies, badges glinting, stood with hands on their holsters. Behind them, Margaret Klein, president of the Red Willow HOA, smirked like a cat with a cornered mouse. Her silver hair was pulled tight, her navy blazer crisp despite the hour, a thick folder clutched in her hands. Deputy Sam Reed, the lead officer, said, his voice tired but firm. We got a report of trespassing on community property. Step out, sir. Hands visible. I raised my hands, heart pounding, Rusty at my heels. This is my land, I said, my voice steady but sharp. My grandfather bought it in 1955. I've got the deed in my truck. Margaret stepped forward, her smile venomous. Mr. Turner, this lake is Red Willow property, per documents filed by Victor Grant, our former treasurer. Your claims are irrelevant to our community standards. Her folder waved like a weapon, her HOA posse nodding behind her. Nate Collins, a burly realtor, snapping photos. Ellen Hayes, looking uneasy, clutching a clipboard. I grabbed my wallet, slowly, and, showing my ID, checked the county records. Deputy, this ranch, this lake, it's Harper land, always has been. And Reed hesitated, glancing at Margaret, then back at me. Look, just sort it out with the HOA, okay? His tone said he'd rather be anywhere else. Margaret's eyes gleamed, her voice cutting. You've been warned. Turner, vacate this lake or face legal action. Ellen muttered, under her breath. Victor Grant left town after some mess. Margaret's glare silenced her, but I caught it. Something was off. The deputies left, Margaret's posse trailing, their flashlights fading into the night. I packed my tent under their watch, Rusty growling. As Nate's camera flashed, my blood boiled, but I kept calm, for now. Back at the ranch house, I dug through Grandpa's old files in the barn. Dusty boxes held deeds, surveys, letters. One caught my eye. A 1,968 deed, clear as day, showing the lake within our boundaries. Another, a letter from the HOA 5 years ago, asking Grandpa to donate the lake for community use. His reply was a firm no, with copies of the deed and a survey. Margaret's claim about Victor Grant didn't add up. My phone buzzed. A text. In from an unknown number. Check your barn. Tomorrow. MK. My stomach twisted. Rusty whined as I grabbed my flashlight. Heading to the barn. The door creaked. Moonlight spilling in. By the lake, a glow flickered. Not a fire, but a lantern. Next to Margaret's folder. Left like a taunt. I snapped a photo, my hands shaking, and sent it to my phone for evidence. The next morning, I drove to the Red Willow HOA office, a converted ranch house with a manicured lawn that screamed control. My folder of Grandpa's papers was heavy in my hands. The meeting room felt like a courtroom, a raised table for the board, a single chair for me. Like a defendant, Margaret sat at the head, her folder open, her smile cold. Mr. Turner, the troublemaker, graces us, she said, mangling my name. On purpose. Nate Collins stood up, his face red. You don't belong. Turner, this is members only, and you're a trespasser. I spread my documents on the table, my voice steady. These deeds, from 1968, show the lake is mine. Your Victor Grant papers, they're fake or wrong. I'm not leaving my family's land. Margaret laughed, sharp and cruel. Your old papers mean nothing compared to our rules. Our lawyer confirms our claim. She waved a document, stamped with a seal, that looked too new. Ellen Hayes leaned over, her voice a whisper. My dad lost his land to Margaret's fines. She's been charging event fees at your lake. Thousands unaccounted for. Her eyes darted to Margaret, then away. The chat on my phone. That's from a live stream I'd started. Buzzed. She's stealing. Check the money. I kept my face neutral, but my mind raced. Margaret wasn't just controlling. She was profiting off my lake. The meeting ended with threats. Margaret's letter arrived the next day, demanding $40,000 in retroactive fees for using my own lake, or surrender it to the HOA. My boss at the shop mentioned odd calls, questioning my work ethic. Neighbors stopped waving at the feed store. Someone left a note on my truck. Selfish jerk. Share the lake. Margaret's war was psychological, relentless. I met Ellie Ruiz, a local vlogger, at a diner, her phone buzzing with comments on her HOA Nightmares channel. Margaret's done this before, she said, showing clips of lake events with HOA banners on my property. She's been hosting paid parties for years. No records of the cash. I nodded, my camera rolling. And for my stream, she's stealing from my land. Ellie, I've got Grandpa's deeds, but I need more. She grinned, her eyes sharp. I've got footage of Margaret slipping up at meetings, talks about securing assets. I'll dig deeper. That night, I checked the lake, Rusty at my side. A new HOA sign stood on my land. Red Willow Lake, community property. I photographed it, my blood simmering. The survey markers were off. Shifted 15 feet onto my property. Someone had tampered with the boundary. Hank Dawson, my neighbor, pulled up in his old Chevy, a pizza box in hand. Ain't food, Caleb, he said, grinning. Your grandpa and I fished this lake for decades. He saved my truck from a flood once. Got something for you. He opened the box, revealing maps and letters. From the 1970s, your grandpa signed a conservation easement in 70. Locks the lake from development forever. Margaret's claim. It's bunk. I stared at the papers, my heart racing. This was it, the key to stopping her. Margaret thought she'd scare me off with cops and fines, but I was about to turn her game upside down. The Texas heat pressed heavy on Red Willow Ranch as I sat in my barn, surrounded by Grandpa's papers, the lake's reflection glinting through the cracks. Rusty lay nearby, his golden fur dusty, his eyes tracking me like he knew I was digging for war. Margaret Klein's midnight stunt, calling cops to kick me off my own lake, burned in my chest. Her fake documents from Victor Grant, the missing treasurer, were a lie, and that HOA sign on my land was a taunt. But Hank Dawson's find, a 1,970 conservation easement, was my shield, and I was ready to strike back. I'd spent years as a mechanic, fixing trucks under pressure, but nothing prepared me for this fight. The easement papers locked the lake from development forever, signed by Grandpa and his neighbors. Margaret's claim that the lake was community property was nonsense. But those shifted markers, 15 feet onto my land, told a story, a fraud. I grabbed my camera for my YouTube channel, Texas Tough, 8,000 subscribers strong, and started filming. Fam, the HOA stealing my lake, I said, panning to the sign. But we're fighting back with truth. The chat buzzed. Get 'em, Caleb. Show the proof. I zoomed in on the markers. Fresh dirt around them. Proof of tampering. Rusty sniffed the ground, growling low, as I snapped photos for evidence. Margaret wasn't just bullying me with $40,000 in fines. She was profiting off my lake with paid events, and I had to stop her. By noon, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Meet me at Dusty's bar, 6 p.m. About MK. My pulse quickened. Rusty whined as I pocketed the phone. Was this Ellen Hayes, the HOA board member, who'd whispered doubts? Or a trap? I called Ellie Ruiz, the vlogger, my ally, her voice crackling through the line. Caleb, I'm in. That's probably Ellen. She's cracking under Margaret's pressure. I'll come too. Keep my camera rolling. I nodded, though she couldn't see. Document everything. Ellie, like Grandpa said, never let him take what's yours. Dusty's bar smelled of whiskey and sawdust, its dim lights casting shadows. Ellie sat nearby, her phone hidden, streaming to her HOA Nightmares channel. 12,000 viewers watching. Ellen slipped in, her eyes darting. Her clipboard gone. She was 45, maybe. Her face tired, her hands fidgeting. Caleb, I shouldn't be here, she whispered, glancing at the door. Margaret's dangerous, but I can't stay quiet anymore. Why risk it? I asked, my camera rolling. Under my jacket. You're her loyal soldier. Ellen's eyes welled up, her voice low. 3 years ago, she fined my mom $10,000 for a shed color. Mom sold her house to pay it. Margaret's been running lake events for years, charging $200 a ticket. The money, it never hits. The HOA books. I found receipts, but she threatened to ruin me if I talked. She slid a USB drive across the table, her hands shaking. Bank records, event logs, photos. Margaret's pocketing thousands from your lake. She's working with a developer, Lone Star Ventures, to turn it into condos. Victor Grant, he caught her 5 years ago. She framed him for theft, ran him out of town. Rusty nudged my leg, his growl soft, as my mind raced. Condos? On my lake? I asked, my voice tight. She needs my land. For that. Ellen nodded, her eyes scared. She's got county connections. Caleb, a judge, an assessor. They're in her pocket. She moved your markers to claim the lake as community land. Be careful. She's watching. A glass crashed across the bar, making us jump. Ellen bolted, her voice a hiss. Don't trust the local cops. Caleb, Margaret owns them. She was gone before I could reply. The chat buzzing. Whoa, whistleblower. Get her. Caleb. Back home. I plugged in the USB, Rusty at my feet. Ellie joined me, her laptop open, streaming to 15,000 viewers. The files were damning. Bank transfers, showing $100,000, funneled to Margaret's account from lake events. Photos of parties on my shore. Banners reading, Red Willow Lake Gala. An email from Margaret to a developer. Turner's land, secured by next month. My fists clenched. Rusty growled as the chat roared. She's a thief. Sue her. I called Hank Dawson, my neighbor, his voice rough, over the phone. Caleb, that easement, it's ironclad. No, HOA can touch your lake, but Margaret's slick, got friends in high places. You need a lawyer. I contacted Sarah Wells, a property attorney in Abilene, known for crushing HOAs. Her office was cluttered with case files, her eyes sharp, as I showed her the USB and Grandpa's easement. Margaret's a crook, she said, flipping through files. She's done this before, forced a farmer out in 19 with fake fines. Your easement, it's gold, locks the lake from development forever. We'll use it to bury her. That night, I checked my cameras. AM, heart pounding. Footage showed a figure in a dark jacket near the lake at 1 hours AM, moving markers. Again, Margaret's logo on the sleeve caught the light. I saved the clip, sent it to Sarah, and filed a report with Deputy Reed. He sounded uneasy over the phone. Caleb, Margaret's tight. With the sheriff, I'll log it, but don't expect much. The next morning, Margaret escalated. A crew arrived at my lake, setting up tents for a community festival. Margaret strutted, her voice booming over a speaker. Red Willow Lake belongs to us, she crowed, as residents paid $150 a ticket. Nate Collins, her HOA lackey, stood guard, filming anyone who got close. The chat on my stream hit 20,000. She's stealing. Stop her, Caleb. Hank pulled up, his Chevy rattling. Caleb, she's hosting these events every weekend. Pocketed $50,000 last year alone. My cousin at the county says she's bribing officials to ignore your deed. I nodded, my camera rolling. We've got proof. Hank, time to fight. Sarah called, her voice urgent. Caleb, we file tomorrow. Trespass, fraud, theft. We'll use the easement and Ellen's files. But Margaret's planning something big at the next HOA meeting. Be ready. I looked at the lake, Rusty at my side, the water glinting under the Texas sun. Grandpa's words echoed. Never let him take what's yours. Margaret thought she'd won with her fake papers. and cop calls. But I was about to turn her sandbox into quicksand. The Texas dusk settled heavy over Red Willow Ranch, the lake shimmering under a fading sky. Rusty prowled the porch, his golden fur bristling, his growl low, as I pored over Grandpa's documents in the barn. Margaret Klein's HOA had turned my lake into a cash machine, charging for events on my land, while waving fake papers from Victor Grant. Ellen Hayes' USB had exposed thousands in stolen funds and moved boundary markers, confirmed by my photos. Hank Dawson's 1,970 conservation easement was my trump card, locking the lake from development forever. But Margaret's next move was coming, and I needed to be ready. My YouTube channel, Texas Tough, hit 20,000 subscribers after I posted the tampered marker footage. The chat buzzed. She's a crook. Save the lake. Caleb. I filmed a new stream. My voice steady. Camera panning. The lake. Fam. Margaret's stealing our legacy. But we've got proof, and we're fighting back. Rusty barked, as if agreeing, and the viewer count climbing to 25,000. Margaret's campaign intensified. Every weekend, her HOA hosted Red Willow Lake Galas on my shore. $200 tickets, white tents, champagne flowing. She posted online, calling me a selfish outsider, blocking community progress. My phone buzzed with threats from strangers. Sell the lake. Turner, you're ruining Abilene. My boss at the repair shop got calls questioning my work. My truck's tires slashed overnight. A note pinned, leave or else. I met Sarah Wells, my lawyer, at her Abilene office, her desk piled with case files. She reviewed Ellen's USB, her eyes sharp. Margaret's embezzling at least $150,000 from lake events, she said, flipping through records. Her Victor Grant papers, they're forgeries. Dates don't match. County ordinances from the 70s. And that easement? Bulletproof? No HOA can touch your land. I leaned forward, my voice low. She's got county connections. Sarah, Ellen said, a judge, an assessor, in her pocket. How do we fight that? Sarah grinned, her eyes glinting. We go bigger. Caleb, federal law protects that easement. And her fraud? That's FBI territory. I've got a contact. Agent Torres. We'll nail her. At the HOA meeting. Tomorrow. That night, I checked my cameras. Heart pounding. Footage showed a figure in a dark jacket near the lake at 3 hours a.m. planting new HOA signs. Margaret's logo, clear on the sleeve. I saved the clip, sent it to Sarah, and posted it to my channel. The chat exploded. That's her. Bust her. Caleb. I called Deputy Reed, but his voice was cagey. Margaret's tight. With the sheriff. Caleb. I'll log it, but don't hold your breath. The next morning, Ellie Ruiz, the vlogger, met me at the feed store, her phone buzzing with comments from her HOA Nightmares channel. Caleb. I dug deeper, she said, her eyes wide. Found posts from 5 years ago. Margaret at a seminar. Seizing assets through HOA power. She's been planning to grab your lake for years. And Victor Grant, he didn't flee with funds. She framed him for catching her. Stealing. I nodded, my camera rolling. For 30,000 viewers. She's a predator, Ellie. But we've got the easement and her lies on tape. Ellie showed me a clip from her vlog. Margaret At an HOA meeting. Slipping up. Once we secure. Turner's Lake. We move to. Dawson's Creek. The chat roared. She's done. Expose her. I saved the video, my blood simmering. Margaret wasn't just after my land. She was targeting the whole community. Hank Dawson pulled up at dusk, his Chevy rattling, a box of papers in his arms. Caleb found more in my attic, he said, his voice rough. Your grandpa and I fought the county in '75 over a land grab. We won. With this, he held up a county letter confirming the easement signed by all owners, including his dad. Margaret's papers, they're fake. She's been bribing officials to ignore it. I took the letter, my hands steady. Hank, this is gold. We hit her at the meeting tomorrow. That evening, I camped by the lake, testing Margaret's nerve. Rusty stayed close, his growl low, as headlights flashed. Across the water, a truck roared past, someone yelling, "Give up, Turner." I filmed it, my camera steady, the chat buzzing. They're scared. Keep fighting. The license plate matched Margaret's SUV, caught clear on my footage. The HOA meeting was a circus. The converted ranch house, packed with residents, phones out, live streaming. Margaret sat at the head, her folder open, her smile cold. "Mr. Turner, the troublemaker, returns," she said, mangling my name. Again, Nate Collins pounded the table. "You're a menace. Turner, stealing our lake with fake papers." I spread my documents, my voice calm. These deeds from 1968 and this easement from 1970 prove the lake's mine. Your Victor Grant files, they're forgeries. And you've been stealing event money from my land. Margaret laughed, her voice sharp. "Your relics mean nothing. Turner, our lawyer, confirms our claim." She waved a document, stamped too clean, too new. Ellen Hayes stood up, her voice shaky. "I've seen no proof of Grant's papers and the event funds. Where are they, Margaret?" The room murmured, heads turning. Nate glared, but others looked uneasy. Margaret's smile faltered, just for a second. Ellie whispered, her phone hidden, streaming to 40,000 viewers. "Got her on tape, slipping up. Last week," she admitted, to moving markers. I nodded, my heart racing. The chat roared, "Bust her. Caleb, show the proof." Sarah called, her voice urgent. "Caleb, Agent Torres is ready. We file tomorrow. Fraud, trespass, embezzlement. Bring the easement and Ellen's USB to the meeting. We'll end her." As I left, Deputy Reed pulled me aside, and his eyes nervous. "Margaret's pushing for charges. Caleb, trespassing, harassment. She's got the prosecutor on her side. Watch out. Tomorrow, she's planning something big." I looked at the lake, Rusty at my side, the water dark, under the Texas stars. Grandpa's words rang clear. "Never let 'em take what's yours." Margaret thought she'd break me with her HOA army, but I was ready to bring her down with truth. The Texas sun blazed fierce over Red Willow Ranch, the lake shimmering like a challenge under the noon heat. Rusty sat alert, his golden fur glinting, his eyes locked on the horizon as I loaded my truck with Grandpa's documents and Ellen Hayes' USB. My YouTube channel, Texas Tough, was live. 30,000 viewers watching my every move as I prepped for the HOA meeting. Margaret Klein's fraud, stealing thousands from my lake with fake events and forged papers, was unraveling. The 1,970 conservation easement from Hank Dawson was my weapon, locking the lake from her grasp forever. But Margaret's big play was coming, and I was ready to flip her game. The Red Willow HOA office was a war zone, disguised as a ranch house. Residents packed, the meeting room, phones out, live streaming to Ellie Ruiz's HOA Nightmares channel, now at 50,000 viewers. Margaret sat at the head table, her navy blazer crisp, her folder thick, her smile cold as ice. Nate Collins, her loyal bulldog, stood guard, his face red, his camera flashing. Ellen Hayes sat quietly, her eyes nervous, but sharp. I clutched my papers. Rusty outside. In the truck, his bark faint. Through the window, Margaret stood, her voice booming. For the crowd, Mr. Turner, the troublemaker, dares to challenge our community, she declared, waving a document, stamped with a county seal. This lake is Red Willow property. Per Victor Grant's records, Turner's camping disrupts our harmony and violates our standards. The crowd murmured, some nodding, others skeptical. Nate pounded the table, his voice loud. We move to seize the lake for Red Willow. Turner's a threat to our kids, our future. Hands went up, half the room swayed by Margaret's lies. My chat exploded. She's lying. Show the proof. Caleb. I stood, my voice calm, camera rolling. For 60,000 viewers. Margaret, your Victor Grant papers are fake. My deeds from 1,968. And this easement from 1,970 prove the lake's mine. You've been stealing event money from my land for years. Margaret laughed, sharp and cruel, holding up her document. Your relics are outdated. Turner, our lawyer, confirms our claim, backed by the county. She turned to the crowd, her smile theatrical. All in favor of seizing the lake. Raise your hands. Hands shot up, more than before. The murmurs louder. Ellen Hayes stood suddenly, her voice shaky, but firm. Where's the proof? Margaret? I've never seen Grant's papers and the event funds. They're missing from our books. The room hushed, heads turning. Nate's face paled. Margaret's smile froze, her eyes venomous. Sit down, Ellen, or you're off the board. But the crowd was shifting, whispers growing, phones recording. I held up my folder, my voice steady. This easement locks the lake from development, and forever, federal law protects it. And Ellen's USB shows $150,000 stolen from lake events by you. Margaret, I played a clip from Ellie's vlog. Margaret's voice clear. Once we secure Turner's Lake, we move to Dawson's Creek. The chat roared. Busted. She's done. Margaret's face. Cycled colors. Red, white, purple. That's edited. She shrieked, slamming her folder. You're framing me. Turner, I'll have you arrested for slander. Deputy Sam Reed stepped forward, his face grim, badge glinting. Miss Klein, we got a call about fraud at this address. Mind coming to the station? Margaret spun, her voice shrill. Arrest him. He's the criminal. Trespassing, harassing us. But Reed shook his head, pulling out cuffs. Ma'am, we've seen the USB and Turner's footage of you moving markers on his land. The crowd gasped. Phones out. Ellie's stream hitting. 80,000 viewers. I played the clip. Margaret's jacket. Clear in the dark. Shifting markers. At 3 hours a.m. Ellen stood again. Her voice stronger. I found receipts. Margaret. You pocketed $50,000 from Lake Gallus. Last year alone. Nate Collins. Backed away. His camera dropping. As residents shouted. Thief! Resign. Margaret's eyes darted to the door. But Hank Dawson blocked her path. To his cane firm. 40 years. I've watched this lake, he said. His voice rough. You ain't stealing it. Klein. Reed cuffed her, reading her rights, as she screamed. This is a setup. My contacts at the county will fix this. But the crowd turned on her, their phones capturing every second. The chat roared. Justice. Get her. Caleb. As Reed led her away, Margaret glared at me, her voice low, venomous. You think you've won? Turner? My partners at Lone Star Ventures will bury you. Her words chilled me, but I smirked for the camera. Enjoy jail. Margaret, the lake's mine. Back home, Sarah Wells, my lawyer, called, her voice triumphant. Caleb, we filed charges. Fraud, trespass, embezzlement. The easement seals your ownership. But Lone Star Ventures, they're developers with deep pockets. Margaret was. Their front. Stay sharp. I checked my cameras. Heart pounding. Footage from last night showed a new figure near the lake. Not Margaret, but someone taller, carrying a gas can. My blood ran cold. Rusty growled. On this hackles up. Lone Star was still out there, and Margaret's threat wasn't empty. The next day, Ellie posted the meeting footage to her channel, hitting 100,000 views in hours. Residents flooded my inbox with apologies. We didn't know. Caleb, one wrote. She fooled us all. Hank brought a six-pack to my porch, his grin wide. Your grandpa'd be proud, son. You fought like he did. I nodded, the lake sparkling. Under the Texas moon, Rusty nudged my leg, his eyes soft. We kept it. Grandpa, I whispered, the breeze carrying my words. But Margaret's partners, and that gas can, haunted me. This wasn't over. The week after, Margaret's arrest, Red Willow buzzed. With a new energy, her lot stood empty. Her HOA signs, gone from my shore. My streams pulled 80,000 viewers daily. The chat chanting, justice for Caleb. I rebuilt my camp by the lake. A new tent, sturdier stakes, documenting every step. For the YouTube fam, but my nights were restless, rusty pacing, as I watched cameras for that figure with the gas can. Sarah Wells, my lawyer, met me at Dusty's bar, her eyes sharp. Over coffee. Caleb, we filed fraud, trespass, embezzlement against Margaret. The easement, they seals your lake under federal law. But Lone Star Ventures, they're developers tied to shady deals. Margaret was their pawn. They're not done. I nodded, my camera rolling for the stream. And that gas can? Someone's planning. Arson. Sarah. Her face hardened. We've got Agent Torres. FBI. On it. Margaret's talking. In jail. Trying to cut a deal. Stay vigilant. Keep Rusty safe. That night, my cameras caught on movement by the lake. 2 hours a.m. A tall figure in a dark jacket, pouring liquid near my tent. Rusty growled, his hackles up as I zoomed in. Gasoline, the smell sharp, even on video. I sent the clip to Sarah and Deputy Reed, adding attempted arson to Margaret's charges. Reed called back, his voice tense. "Caleb, we think. It's Nate Collins, Margaret's lackey. He's vanished. But we're looking." The next morning, Margaret struck from her cell. Social media exploded with posts under her old name. Martha Klein, Rancher Ruins, Abilene's Future, screamed headlines with edited photos of me dumping trash by the lake, fake emails claiming I'd bribed county officials. Comments raged. "Lock Turner up. He's a fraud." My subscribers fought back. "Caleb's the hero." But the lies spread like wildfire. I uploaded a video. The truth about Margaret Klein. Ellen's USB showed $150,000 stolen from lake events. My footage caught Margaret moving markers. Nate with the gas can. Hank's easement proved the lake was mine forever. I'm a mechanic. I told 100,000 viewers. Protecting my grandpa's legacy. Margaret's a thief who tried to burn my land. The video hit 1 million views in hours. The chat roaring. "Get her. Caleb. Save Rusty." By noon, Abilene buzzed with support. Neighbors emailed. We were wrong. Caleb, the local news, ran a story. "Oh, a fraud. Rocks Red Willow." Lone Star Ventures went quiet, their website down, as investors bailed. That afternoon, a county letter arrived, my hands trembling as I read. Eminent domain proceedings, initiated for improper land use, signed by a county official tied to Margaret. My heart sank. Rusty whined as I called Sarah. "They're coming. For the lake." "Sarah, even from jail, she's pulling strings." Sarah's voice was steel. "The easement stops this. Caleb, federal law trumps their claim. We go to court tomorrow with everything." The courtroom was packed like a Texas showdown. 200,000 viewers on my live stream. Half the gallery, my subscribers. The other half, Red Willow residents, stunned to see Margaret in an orange jumpsuit. Judge Larson, a grizzled Texan, glared over her glasses. This trial streamed per millisecond. Klein's request. No nonsense, or you're out. Sarah stood, her voice clear. For 3 million viewers, Caleb Turner owns Red Willow Lake per a 1,970 easement protected by federal law. Margaret Klein embezzled $150,000, moved boundary markers, and planned arson to steal it for Lone Star Ventures. She showed Ellen's files, my footage, Hank's documents. The jury gasped as Margaret's email played. "Burn Turner's tent if he fights." Ellen testified, her voice firm. "I saw Margaret pocket event money for years. She framed Victor Grant to cover it." Hank added, "She tried my creek next, but Caleb stopped her." Margaret's lawyer stammered, his case weak. "My client acted under stress, Your Honor. Turner's claims are exaggerated." Judge Larson snorted. "Fraud ain't stress, counselor." Margaret took the stand, her voice unhinged. "I built Red Willow. I deserved that money. Turner's a nobody, stealing our future." The chat roared. "Guilty." As Sarah showed, a forged Lone Star contract, dated after my easement claim. The jury deliberated 45 minutes. Guilty on all counts. Fraud, trespass, conspiracy, attempted arson. Judge Larson sentenced her. Margaret Klein, 20 years, federal prison, no parole, for 4 Restitution, $2.5 million. To Caleb Turner, for damages. Margaret collapsed as guards led her away, her eyes burning with hate. But as we left, a Lone Star lawyer in a sleek suit approached. Mr. Turner, we filed a federal lien on your lake from 2016. This fight ain't over. Ellie grabbed my arm, her voice low. Caleb, $1 million vanished from the HOA fund today. My heart raced. Rusty nudged me, the chat buzzing. What's next? Sarah's phone pinged, her face grim. Abilene, 5 years old? They're desperate. Caleb. I looked at the lake. Grandpa's legacy. Safe for now. We kept it. Rusty. I whispered. The water gleaming under the Texas stars. Margaret was gone, but Lone Star was circling.